Hello and welcome to the final edition of the Capcom Arcade Cabinet. This is Pack 5, and without further ado, let's get into it. This first game is Sun. It's a strange game. When I played it for the first time for this video capture, I'd never seen a game like this before. I mean, a lot of the games, it's one of the early games, 1984, so you can kind of understand Capcom experimenting with the franchise, and not with the franchise, but with the ideas that they were having at the time. A lot of the games we saw a couple of weeks ago, I can't remember whether it was Pack 3. A lot of the games were similar to like Ghosts and Goblins and things like that, and they seem to go down that route a lot. I mean, this is similar to Ghosts and Goblins in the sense that you're side-scrolling, trying to defeat the things that are coming towards you, but you're always going forward in this one. There's no you can't control where you're going apart from within the frame that's on the screen at the time. There are collectibles on the screen, as you can see, like little fruit and other items. I think there's marshmallow at one point. Yeah, there we go, marshmallows there on a stick. But the whole point is to just survive, basically. Get as many points as you can through collecting the different items. You get points for killing enemies, you get points for picking up items, you don't get points for just carrying on going through the game. It's not like an infinite runner game of nowadays that you'd probably see me review on something like Mobile Monday, where you just get points for just surviving as long as you can. It's not one of those games you'll see in the top left hand corner the score doesn't go up if you're just moving. It's always when you're collecting items, when you're killing enemies, things like that. So it's just a case of go for as long as you can, but stay alive for as long as you can. And these things are interesting. I found these quite confusing at first because obviously old school games tend not to tell you what to do. It just kind of lets you get on with it. It doesn't take long to figure out that you're supposed to shoot the blocks with the skull on them to allow you to shoot past them and shoot the enemies that are behind. Also, like something that we've noticed when we've been looking at these Capcom Arcade Cabinet games is that Capcom had a tendency to reuse a lot of assets. The power upgrade, the little skill thing, POW, that you'll see dotted around, is used in pretty much every Capcom game. I don't think, off the top of my head, I can't think of one where they didn't use it, which is nice. I mean, if you grew up playing Capcom games, and you know a lot of arcades may have had licenses with Capcom themselves, so the only new arcade machine that you may have seen may have been a Capcom machine. So at least you don't have to learn new mechanics. It's always just look for the POW and you'll probably be able to shoot better, move better, defend better. So at least you don't have to learn new mechanics. This Sun seems to be it is a co-op game, so the title refers to the main character there. There is another character that you can play if you want to play in co-op, so you can both help each other to keep the area clear. You can see the little numbers as well in the top. It's on 14 now. They're counting down, so the whole point is to get to the end of the like area without dying, or without losing all of your lives. And you're allowed to die once or twice. You've seen me die once or twice. But yeah, you just have to keep an eye on them. They correlate to the like scenery changing, so it's going from like a blue brick there to this like ivy vine thing, and we've got a new number, so we're on 13 now. Still counting down. The enemies get more and more, as you would expect. You got to try and move up and down. In terms of controls, it's just typical jumping. You'll jump onto the platform above and press down, and you'll jump onto the platform below. It's easy enough, but it's something that you're going to have to learn to do pretty quickly. Because while it's not difficult, to work out where the enemies are going to go. It's difficult sometimes to predict when they're going to go. So you kind of have to stay away from them enough to not die, but close enough to them that you can kill them, because you want the points at the end of the day. That little pinwheel icon as well is another one that you'll see quite regularly. I think it's actually used in another game that we'll look at today, but I can't remember really. You will have seen it a lot in the other Capcom arcade cabinet games. There's no real bosses, it seems, in this game. It's just those like the little castle segments where you have to blow the skull blocks and then kill the people behind the skull blocks, and then usually just after that you'll see those like 3 people on clouds with shields and swords and stuff that take a bit more to defeat, and you know, later on in the game move a bit faster, take a bit more to take down, stuff like that. But generally there's no bosses or anything like that to contend with. Just these guys. You can see they're taking a little bit more to take down now, moving a bit faster. But they give you more and more points, so you're going to want to take them down when you can. There's another game that I hadn't heard of, Pirate Ship Higimaru. Again, 1984. 2-player, alternating 2-player this time though, so you're not going to be able to play together. It's not co-op, it's alternating. When you die, the other player gets a turn. And you'll notice when it starts why it reminded me of Bomberman. When I first started playing the game, because again it's another one of those early games that I hadn't had the pleasure of playing before, I had no idea what to do. I had to play through the game a couple of times before I understood what to do. I thought, because of the layout and the enemies dotted around and stuff, I expected it to play a little bit like Bomberman. And I suppose in a way it's similar. The whole point is to clear the deck of the pirates, really. Avoid the big pirate. The big pirate is a little bit more difficult to contend with because he's walking around a lot faster than the other pirates. But in general, the smaller pirates are quite easy to destroy, and the whole point is to get rid of all of them, and you'll move on to the next level. You see some of the barrels are flashing as well. Those are the ones that have items inside them, so you pick those up instead of the non-flashing ones, and you'll be able to collect the item that drops out of it for a little bit more points. One thing that I found interesting as well is, you notice I just died there. It doesn't reset the stage, so I only had to kill one then to complete the stage. It carries on from where you were. So if you only had one left to kill when you died, you'll only still have that one left to kill. You don't have to go all the way back, so you don't have to worry when it comes to the last levels. You don't have to worry about clearing all of the, spending a decent amount of time trying to defeat all the pirates, only to have one little mistake and cause you to have to redo everything. Controls again are easy enough. It's just up, down, left, right to move down the gaps. The A button on the Xbox picks up the barrels, and then press A again to launch it. It'll only launch it in a straight line, so you've got to be careful where you're facing, obviously. I did find it, despite the controls being easy to memorise and not exactly difficult, I did sometimes find it difficult for the character to move around the right lanes. I find myself either moving too late, or not moving at all, or a little bit too early at times. It takes some getting used to. It's not difficult. It doesn't take long to get used to, but it is something that some players may have to get used to if you haven't played the game before. The music is quite interesting. I quite like the music in this, especially seeing as I'd never heard of the game before, so I'd never had a chance to play it. It's quite difficult also to predict how many enemies are left. It looks like there's 2 left, but a lot of the time when you defeated the last enemy, another one just happened to pop up somewhere. Is that the last one? That is the last one. This high point deck is just when you pick up the flashing thing. Whenever I pick them up, it tends to be like a pipe that fell out of them. They give you 1,000 points per one, but generally it's just everything. Everything is more points because there's no lesser pirates. It's just the main pirate, which gives you more points for destroying. It's not easy though. As you saw from the previous levels, the main pirate moves quite quickly, and yeah, if you walk around the wrong corner or move a little bit too slow, he's going to get you. So it's quite a tactical game though. Sometimes you got to attack in specific orders. It's not easy to predict where he's going to go. That's Pirate Ship Higimaru, and now 1942. A couple of weeks ago, I can't remember which one it was now, like pack 2 maybe, we had 1943, the sequel to 1942. It's the same game. It's top down. Vertical scrolling shooter, but this is the game that I remember playing as a kid. I spent so much money on 1942 that it's remembering it back now and how much I probably spent on this game. It's quite insane. Again, it's the same gameplay mechanics. Just shoot everything that appears on the screen, basically. That POW again. One thing that I did find that I couldn't remember from the original version, maybe I just blanked it out, is the whistling music sound. It doesn't sound very good. And I don't know if it was something that I was doing was causing that, or whether it was intentional, but there has been music in other Capcom arcade cabinet games that has been quite impressive for the age of the game. But that whistling just it never really subsided, and I never started to get used to it. I just had to kind of deal with it, which wasn't great. Yeah, you notice I died a few times as well. This is one of those games where the little bullet can be quite difficult to see at times, especially when there's so much happening on the screen at once. There is a way of avoiding it. If you press the A button on the Xbox 360 controller, he will... I did it a couple of seconds ago, and I'll probably do it more often later on in the game when I realise that I probably should have been doing it a lot more to survive. But he'll do a backflip where he kind of jumps over the top of all bullets and enemies coming that way. It's more of an avoidance thing, but it's quite useful. It's more where 1943 has not necessarily boss battles, but they have reasons to get to the end. So there'll be like a tanker that you have to take down, or an aircraft carrier, or any number of enemy bigger vehicles than just the ones that it's throwing at you. 1942 seems to be more of a shooting gallery where the whole point is to just shoot down as many of the enemies as you can. There doesn't seem to be like an end end of stage enemy, end of stage boss, whatever you want to call it, which is fine. I mean, it doesn't detract from the game in any way. That by not having it, it just gives you, just emphasises the enemies that you're going to see on the screen most of the game more than you would. I mean, in 1943, the whole point is to get to the end of the stage to beat the last boss, and it kind of de-emphasises the enemies that you see the majority of the time, whereas 1942, they are the emphasis. They're the reason to keep playing. You want to try and get that percentage up. So on the last stage that I got, I think it was 90%. And as the levels increase, obviously there's more enemies. That it's more difficult to get all of them. So that adds to the replayability. Just the fact that you may want to attempt to get 100% on each of the levels, which isn't going to be easy to do. So it's going to make you want to replay over and over and over again. But we're coming to the end of 1942 now, so I hope you enjoyed the Capcom Arcade Cabinet Pack 5, and I hope you enjoyed the entire run of Capcom Arcade Cabinet that we've shown you at godisgeek.com. Don't forget to keep checking back at godisgeek.com for even more videos. Bye.